Okay, I have a new camera. We're gonna see how this one goes. I don't know if it looks quite as crisp and clear as my temporary camera that I had, but I had to give that one back to my mom because it came from her work for a temporary on loan camera, while the other one was just bad. So this one's at least better than the other one that I had. So let's go. Um, Today I am going to be doing the next one in the Black Clover Rulers and Leaders series that is, I guess, somewhat of like a companion piece to the One Piece ones. There's not nearly as many in Black Clover as there are in One Piece, but there's still a fair number of rulers that we've interacted with. Thus far, I have gone over all of the Wizard Kings that we are aware of. And if ever any other ones pop up that we end up needing to know about, I'll probably do a video about them. And whatever point in time there ends up being like a next Wizard King within the Clover Kingdom, I'll do a video about them. But I am also going to be doing videos about some of the other rulers that we are aware of, and that would be within the Clover Kingdom. We have King Augustus Kira Clover the 13th, who is the current king of the Clover Kingdom. He is also a spoiled idiot, arrogant idiot, and he is 35 years old. Light magic seems to be what he is capable of doing, which I think is stated to be a rare kind of magic, but I don't know if that's just supposed to be rare as in like it's only affiliated with the royal family, but I'm not sure. We don't have a huge amount of his backstory, but we know kind of like what's going on currently for him. By a technicality, he would have been, the son of the previous king and queen of the Clover Kingdom. We do not know if it is an entire Augustus line, going all the way back to when Lumiere was, Prince Lumiere, because he was a prince of the kingdom, I believe, as well, before he was proclaimed the Wizard King. So there's that. But I would assume it's still the same royal family that is ruling. They just have probably intermarried a bunch with a bunch of the other royal and noble families. He is most likely a descendant of the ones who were responsible for the slaughter of the elf village that happened, 400 years ago, or however many 100 years ago it was that happened. And such, but he doesn't really seem to take a huge amount of action or a huge amount of interaction with his people, or at the very least he doesn't seem to be around them very much. That doesn't involve it being like a festival or something like that, considering the fact that neither Asta nor Yuno, who is probably a bit more well informed than Asta was, that they even had a king beyond the Wizard King, because the Wizard King is the one that they talk about, is the one that, the story is told about the Wizard King, about Lumiere, and how, he defeated the demon and everything like that, and saved the kingdom, and was the first Wizard King, and how, ever since then, there's been more Wizard Kings. But we don't really know too much else about the royal family beyond the, horrible act that they committed way back when, and then, on down the line. As I said, they probably intermarried with a bunch of the other very high-ranking royal and noble families. We know that Noel and the Silva family, along with the Vermilion family, have connections to, somewhere in their lines to the royal family, because, Noel is always like, and because I'm a royal and everything like that. So there's like some connection there and everything. And Augustus, obviously Augustus is referring back to Caesar Augustus of Rome, and everything like that is referring back to that. Kira, I'm not sure, and then of course Clover is just because it's the Clover Kingdom. I'm not sure exactly what Kira means off the top of my head in this regard. The first time that we are really introduced to the king is during the Eye of the Midnight Sun attack on the royal capital. He is just kind of like lounging about on his weird throne bed thing with just two women who we have no idea who they are. I don't think they've ever been named. And he just makes these demands of, Julius to go and protect the kingdom and protect him and everything like that. And, Marx is just kind of like assuring the king that, of course, the Julius is doing what he's supposed to do and is doing what he needs to try to protect people. Keep the, His Majesty safe within the, within the palace and everything like that. But the king is just also very arrogant and, very spoiled, as I said. And I love to point this out just because I find it hilarious. The same guy that voices him in the English dub, Sonny Strait, is also the one who voices Usopp in One Piece. And Usopp would make a much better king than this guy does. He also voices Kuro Sensei in Assassination Classroom, so there's that there as well. They're all three kind of these joke-ish type characters, but at the very least, Usopp and Kuro Sensei have the skills to back up what they're saying, as opposed to Augustus, who does not. So there's that. Several months later, after the Midnight Sun attack, we really don't see that much of the king throughout the course of the story. He just kind of pops up at various points. They have this big Star Awards festival where they're supposed to hand out the stars to the different squads and stuff like that have, accomplished quite a bit and everything like that. And, Augustus is there, and he actually ends up ordering the execution of Asta and Yuno because neither of them seem to know who he is, and he is very insulted by this. They also, I believe it's Asta that makes the comment that, why do we have a king when we have a wizard king? Shouldn't the wizard king just be the king anyway? And that just makes Augustus very, very angry, and everything like that. But of course, Asta and Yuno are not assassinated or not executed, because that would be stupid. And during this time frame is when we also kind of start seeing this, the crowd has this very lackluster, response to when he shows up as opposed to when Julius shows up. And Augustus takes this very, very personally. But it's like, dude, Julius is out there among the people, even when he's not necessarily always, visible among the people. When he's, in one of his disguises, he's out among the people and trying to do what he can to protect the people and everything like that. And he interacts with the different, squads and everything like that. Whereas, the king just kind of seems to lounge about within his room or within the castle, being spoiled and doted upon. We never find out anything about him having any wife or any children. We know that he has the grandniece or something like that, and that he is related to the judge guy, who I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's related to them, and his grandniece is the one that was engaged to Finral, and then ends up being engaged to Finral's brother, to Longris, and is the one that Finral is trying to become better, not as flirty among girls and everything like that, so he can try to win her back and everything like that. So we have that relationship there, but there's not really too many others that he tends to have a connection with. And we also see him being very jealous of Julius, with Julius being very popular with the crowd and everything like that. And he takes credit for what Julius has done and everything like that, which is just stupid. And he tries to come up with take the credit for when Julius makes the announcement about that they are going to have the kind of the elite squad within the Magic Knights that are going to be like the Royal Knights, that are the ones that end up going after the Midnight Sun specifically, and everything like that. So we do have those ones, and that they're going to have the Royal Knight selection exams, where they have it that all of the different squad members from all these different squads all end up getting paired off in different teams and have to work together to show how well they can work together, with someone who is not someone who is generally their teammate and everything like that. And so, Augustus is there during that, when they're having that whole tournament thing going on there, the exam as it's called. And he's kind of the one that explains the rules about the crystal and everything like that, for how it works, where it's like, oh, whoever's crystal is more damaged during the tournament is the one that loses, is the losing team and everything like that. you know. So we have that, and he doesn't like when he gets interrupted by Julius during any of this stuff, because Julius is much better at talking and everything like that, and much better at keeping people's attention than the king, who just seems very I'm going to use this word a lot, very arrogant, because he is very arrogant. There's also at least a couple of moments I know where he uses his power, and he has, as I said, he has like light magic, and he tries to he makes this giant like light statue of himself that doesn't really do anything, and that seems to be the only thing he can do. He has a good amount of mana power that he can draw upon, but he doesn't seem like he's done a whole lot of training with it. As opposed to, in comparison with Asta, who has like no magic at all, but he has the anti-magic, and he has worked himself so much to get stronger and stronger and stronger. And even, for example, when we deal with Zora, when he's introduced during this arc, he's like, well, I don't have a huge amount of power, but I know what I'm doing with my power when it comes to my ash and trap magic and stuff like that. Augustus is actually impressed when Zora, under his alias as a member of the Purple Orcas, is kind of impressed with him and his power and everything like that. When the team they're up with that their squad is up against end up getting falling for the tricks that he has, and he is just very dissatisfied with Magna and everything like that during his match and everything. So we see some of that. He ends up being, confused by different things that end up happening throughout the course of the fights, because he's not actually paying that much attention, or he's just not, understanding what's going on, because it's going on over his head. And then he is there when they have the first gathering of all of the Royal Knights, when they're all given like their nice new uniforms and everything like that, and they're all finding out who the Royal Knights are and everything. So he's there for that. And he's not very all that involved in it, but like he's trying to take credit for it and everything. And then where we have kind of one of the big war moments where we have with the king is during the attack of the Eye of the Midnight Sun, when the Royal Knights are going to go and fight against the Eye of the Midnight Sun in their flying fortress, which again, I give Midnight Sun plenty of credit for. They have a giant freaking fortress that flies, so you get props. And they have that and everything, but while that attack is happening, because of Longros's actions when he is being possessed, Longros's parents are called into the capital to where the king is, and they're they're being chastised by the king for the Longros's actions and everything like that, and like why should he still allow this engagement between Longros and Finesse, who is the niece, his grandniece, to continue. Which, okay, first of all, grandnieces are generally like the child of your niece. Like, I have two nieces, and if either of them had a daughter, they would be my grandniece. Is generally how that works. So I don't know exactly how this family thing lines up here for him, because I guess it's possible he has like older sisters and it's just like a male only line, so he's the one that got to become king when like their father died, and patriarchal system and everything like that, firstborn male and everything. And then he may have older sisters who married into another family, and then like they had a child and then had a child, and then that would be his grandniece. So had a daughter and that would be his grandniece. So I don't know if that's exactly what's supposed to happen, but generally that's the way that that's described, is that like your grandniece is like the daughter of your, it's the daughter of your niece, or is the daughter of your niece or nephew, is how that's generally described. Kind of like your great grandparents are, your grandparents' parents, that type of a setup. But what ends up happening is so they get called to the castle, and he's talking with them about what's going on. And at this point in time, Langris, who is possessed by the elf, has shown up and is actually like attacking them, and Finesse tries to stop him and everything, and he just knocks her aside, and he tries to attack the king and everything like that. And so we get a lot of that. Thankfully they end up being saved because Finral himself shows up, Yami shows up, and Jack shows up. So they all show up, and they actually end up fighting against Rattery, or whatever is the elf's name. They fight against him. And Longris, eventually Finral during this battle is able to like get through to Longris and everything like that, and all of that stuff. So he, that's what happens there. But while all of this is happening, there's this moment where, during this battle is when the king has tried using his light magic to try to show off, which it doesn't do anything. So it's not like it's all that impressive to begin with. It's like, okay, you made a giant light statue of yourself. Okay. I'm sure Noelle can make a giant water statue of herself that can actually fight and cause damage. If he could make his light statue actually like move and fight and everything like that, or set off, lasers because it's light, that would be more impressive. But we never see him do anything with it. So not that impressive. So there's all of that happens, but there's not really a whole lot else there. But what ends up happening is when there's like this big explosion that happens, the king gets knocked out of a window and he falls and ends up actually being, because Longris being possessed tries to kill him and he gets knocked out of the window, and ends up getting saved by Seki, who happens to be flying underneath there at that exact time where he gets caught, where he catches the king. And Slash accidentally finds him and everything like that. And Augustus ends up being, kind of ends up being very, he ends up liking Seki because he thinks Seki saved him. Also, Seki at one point uses like a cannonball to like protect them, which doesn't really do much, but I guess the king just thinks it does more than it did. And everything, and he praises Seki's abilities and everything, and eventually there ends up being other people show up, and Seki does defend the king, but he's being ordered to defend the king and everything like that until Damatio, that was his name, the judge guy that I couldn't remember, until he shows up and ends up saving both of them from the assassins that have shown up to try to kill the king, and everything like that. And then of course Augustus just starts complaining about his dirty clothes, and Dominato just is like, I kind of feel sorry for him at this point in time, because it's like, yeah, I know what he ends up, for all intents and purposes, putting Asta on trial for a crime that he technically did not commit, just because they need a scapegoat for all the people that got possessed, when the kingdom itself cannot just admit the fact that it's like, oh yeah, like 400, 500 years ago, the king and the royals at the time slaughtered a village of elves because our greed for power took over us, and we slaughtered this village of elves thinking it would make us stronger. And then now, so many hundred years later, these elves have been reincarnated inside of a lot of people who were magic knights, and they've gone and attacked us and caused a lot of problems. And we just can't admit our own kingdom's fault. So we're going to blame the boy with the spiky hair and the black sword. That's basically what ends up happening. That's for all intents and purposes how that goes. But what ends up happening is, of course, several days later, Augustus is attending this, the magic parliament and everything like that, where Asta and Seker are on, trial and everything like that, being put on trial by Dominato. And not, he's there, and he's very much like, he has like Seki with him and everything like that. And Seki's basically been turned into his like personal little errand boy, which is kind of funny. But he's like, keeps praising Seki when it's like, Seki was the one that helped me. Those two are the ones that caused all of this. And it's just like, no, they're not. And, you know, so the king is very much wanting Asta to be punished and everything like that. And eventually, you know, when Nozel and Fergolion show up and everything, they're able to deliver the message from Julius and everything like that to, like, stop everything, to, like, postpone the trial to a degree. You know, since he's able to, you know, Julius has enough sway that he's able to meddle with that. And Augustus just becomes very, very angry about this. And then over the course of the next, you know, the 6 months and everything like that, you know, when Yami and William are captured by the Spade Kingdom siblings, who will get their own videos later on, when they're captured by them, you know, there's been a few other things that have happened during this time frame. They keep having it that whenever they have, like, public appearances that Julius has to make, they keep dressing up the guy who was, like, the doctor that's, like, this head doctor for, like, the Clover Kingdom or whatever, and he's got, like, bandages around his face because they can't have everybody find out that Julius has been turned into a kid. And so he doesn't talk very much whenever they're having these moments because he can't sound like Julius. So the king, because they have to make appearances together, keeps being like, you know, he keeps taking the spotlight. And, like, they also have this, like, awards ceremony that happens at one point in time for, you know, giving out medals and stuff like that for the fact that, you know, oh, these ones did this and these ones did this. And, like, he refuses to allow Asta to be able to move up in the ranks as far as Asta should be allowed to move up within the ranks of the Magic Knights. Same thing with a bunch of the other ones because he's angry because they don't respect him. And he keeps trying to get Seki, you know, higher up position and everything like that. And to Seki's credit, he at least feels very uncomfortable when all of that is happening because he knows he does not deserve any of that type of, you know, adoration coming his way for the most part. And if I remember correctly, I think we did get something more recently in the manga of Seki at least trying to step up with his power, with his skills. So Seki at least gets credit for that. The king, on the other hand, has not really had too much other good things happen to him because when when the Clover Kingdom gets attacked by the Spade Kingdom and everything like that, there's these moments where, and I don't remember if this is happening specifically when. Hi, pretty girl. Are you being a silly girl? Are you a silly girl? Are you a pretty girl? Can I put you on camera? Are you a pretty girl? Pretty girl. Pretty girl. My pretty Brenda. See, that's you on the camera. Boop, boop. Boop, boop. My pretty girl. Dog treat in the middle of the video. Near the end of the video. But what ends up happening is, of course, you know, when the Clover Kingdom is attacked, by the Spade Kingdom. I don't remember if this is specifically when they are being attacked by the three Spade siblings the first time when they're all invading and when all the demons are attacking and everything like that. Or if it's a little bit later, but, like, there's this moment where, like, you know, he's in danger and he's panicking and everything like that, and he just pleads with for someone to make all of this stop. For all of this, you know, to make all of this, you know, damage and everything like that to his kingdom stop. In the king's defense, I do think he does care about his people, but he's just an idiot who doesn't really have any type of enough of his own skills to do anything about it. Now, it would be one thing if he was a very politically adept leader who very much cared and showed that he cared about his people, but he just didn't have a whole lot of physical magical power himself. Like, if he was to the point where he maybe only had, like, the type of magic that, you know, you know, the plebs, you know, the lower realm have and everything like that from the ones from the Forsaken realm, but he would never be able to admit that. Okay, Brenda, what are you doing? Get out from under there. Come on, over here. Up, up, up. She's like, I up here. Mommy, hi, 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 I know. Yes, I know I love you. I love you very much. Yes, I do. Okay, Over here. Up, up, up. I can pet you while I talk. Alright, good. Because I want pets. Oh. But what ends up happening, it would be one thing if he was like a very good adept leader who very much cared about his people and tried to work on programs and stuff like that that were designed to help with, help the people in the Forsaken Realm be able to have more food and more, resources and stuff like that to help redistribute stuff like that throughout the kingdom or things along those lines. That would be one thing if he was that type of a king. But he's just more this very, just more annoying character than anything, who, like, he doesn't seem like he's ever done a huge amount of training with his own magic. Because, yeah, it's like, oh, he has this amount of magic. He has power. He just hasn't done a whole lot of training with it to be able to show that he has what he could be capable of. So it's like he's let that languish. And it's not like he couldn't learn how to do that, but I don't think we're going to have time for that in the story, in all honesty, but, so we'll see what happens there. Don't really know what will happen by the end of the story. I'm pretty sure we'll get a few more bits with him where he's, claiming Seki did amazing things during the battle and everybody else was just, not doing what they were supposed to. In regards to his magical prowess, as I said, he has light magic. Yes, he does. He has light magic, and his power, his attack that he does is this absolute monarch of divine brilliance, which just makes a giant light version of himself. As I said, not much else there. He does have immense magical power since he is a royal, but it doesn't really result in much. And he does have a 3-leafed grimoire, but again, the majority of the characters in the story have a 3-leafed grimoire. With there being very few that have a 4-leafed grimoire to begin with, and only 2 that have a 5-leaf grimoire and such. And one of those was via manipulation by an outside force. Manipulation by a demon. Up, 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 up. Hi, yeah, hi. Can you up, 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 up. Up, there we go. Come on, I want to show you on camera. I want to show my pretty girl. There's my pretty girl. There's my pretty girl. Yes, I do. I love you. So there's a lot of that throughout for his story. We'll see what he ends up amounting to by the end of the story. Hopefully he's maybe had a little bit of character development, or not. We'll find out. But we'll just have to wait and see. So that's what I have for him. I think the next one I will be doing for this one will be Queen Lolopechka from the Heart Kingdom. And we know a fair amount about her in regards to, what she's done over the years, her story and everything like that. She's much more involved and a much better ruler than Augustus is. So that's what we have. I thank you for watching, and I hope you have a nice rest of your day. Bye!